What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel and to episode 4 of Let's Play Dark Fort with Page Mythic. Dark Fort is a solo micro RPG adjacent to Mörk Borg, and I have a link in the description to where you can purchase the fanzine that includes, along with a selection of Mörk Borg content, the solo micro RPG Dark Fort that eventually became Mörk Borg. Very exciting. Along with Page Mythic, which you can find a link in the description to Mythic Magazine 25 that holds this product. This is a one-page solution for playing any role-playing game solo. Yeah, so let's carry on with the campaign. So in the last episode, Kargunt, the Catacomb Rogue, was saved. He saved Mistal's life. Mistal was a warrior that was on the ground, wounded, being interrogated by a necro-sorcerer. And 2 episodes ago we had this dramatic battle where we somehow killed the necro-sorcerer and lived with only 1 HP left. Somehow survived that combat and saved Mistal's life. Mistal let us know in the last episode that there are more warriors coming. He was one of a group of 4 warriors that traveled from the town of Frightmoon to rescue Freylo the Sage, and actually there are more on the way. They were a lead scouting party, hoping to scout out the catacomb, the dungeon, and to report back to the others with what they were able to learn to help maximize their information, make it as easy as possible to delve and to rescue Freylo. Now 2 of those men are dead. 1 was being feasted on by a Medusa in this part of the catacomb. Another lay dying in this cross-shaped room, and that dying warrior gave Kargunt the quest to press on and to find Freylo. We then came across the necro-sorcerer interrogating this warrior, who claimed that more were on their way, which turns out to be true, and Kargunt then battled the necro-sorcerer and saved him. And the last thing that happened was a skeleton busted into the room. There was a cave-in. A cave-in blocks our exit. Mistal and Kargunt actually want to make their way backwards through the catacomb, and they want to exit and, and find the group of warriors making their way to the catacombs. But a cave-in happened. This was a random event generated by Page Mythic. This cave-in prevents their travel along this hallway. So they now have to press forward, hoping that there's a doorway that will allow them to escape the catacomb and to not, sit here and starve to death or something. They came across, a skeleton busted in the room after it was drawn by the noise of the cave-in, and we had a very tense combat with 1 HP where Kargunt was able to destroy the skeleton with the help of his sidekick Damon. That disappeared back into the void after that combat. He then used his invisibility cloak to explore through one of the doorways. We found this cross-shaped room with a hellhound, or an undead hound, right? Undead hound, and we did not fight him. We used the invisibility cloak to sneak back out of the room, and that was our last use for our invisibility cloak. So our Daemon has, returned to the void, and our invisibility cloak is now becoming see-through, and it's not really working like it used to. So we are now it's so just to set the stage for you, it's Kargunt who is near death, and it is Mistal who is near death and who is not helpful in combat, and all they have is this warhammer and some money. They've got some change on them, 27 silver, and they need to press forward through the catacomb to find a way out, and the odds are that they will not find their way out, that they will die. However, we have had some lucky dice rolls thus far. I'll have you know that every dice roll that I make will be on camera. No dice rolls will ever be fudged, so when it's time for him to die, he will die, and we will witness that together as it happens. It'll be a good time, but thus far, Kargunt has got lucky with his dice rolls. Yeah, and another thing I should point out is that we have enough points earned to reach level 2, and we could, if we were to level up, we might receive some kind of bonus that could help us scrape along until we find a peddler. Everything right now depends on finding a peddler so we can buy potions from him. We just haven't explored enough rooms. We've explored 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rooms. We need to explore 12 rooms and survive to level up. Or we need to collect 40 silver, and then we need to return to the entrance to be able to level up. So, yeah, things are not looking so hot for Kargunt and Mistal, but they are, they're alive, and they have a chance. It may be a shot in the dark, but it is a chance. This is just for your reference. I don't know if I've shown this yet. This is what a Dark Fort character sheet looks like. So you can kind of like draw your map here. It doesn't have to be on a grid, obviously. And yeah, you can just kind of like check off what, which levels that you've received, you know, your HP, your points, all that good stuff, explored rooms. The points are out of 15. That's interesting. So once you get to 15, it doesn't matter what your points are. Okay. That's why looking at this character sheet is kind of useful, because it, you know, the rules are so short that the character sheet even kind of provides extra context for what the rules mean. So that is quite helpful. Okay, now before we enter this next room, I do have a couple questions from the last session. I want to know. So we know Mistal's name. Can I get a little bit about his mannerisms or what he looks like? Let's ask one Page Mythic. We're going to go over to the Discover Meeting Table description. I would like a brief description of Mistal. What is he like? So, 8, he is bright. So this is a happy, optimistic individual. Maybe his armor was shining other than where it's been, you know, gashed. Mistal is he's a warrior. He is gleaming. And he's a bright, peppy, happy person. And we got this all from this one roll on the description meeting table. Perfect. That is what I wanted to know. So Kargunt is, you know, he's young, innocent, kind of clean. This is his first time to go out grave robbing. So these two maybe have some things in common. They might both kind of have this sort of more optimistic than you would expect, or more pure than you would expect view of the dying world, which is a horrible place. Okay, with that, we are now going to press forward for better or for worse, and at this point, every time we enter a room, there is a solid chance that we will die. So it's been less than 10 minutes in the episode thus far. It could suddenly come to an abrupt halt. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? All we can do is press forward and see where fate wants to take us. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is roll for the room shape, and we are hoping for a shape that can help us to kind of start to chart a path around the crossroom with the Hellhound and somehow back towards one of these open doors. We need to connect our path forward with a way to get back to the entrance so that we're not stuck forever. So 7, this is that a square? 7 is a square, so we have a square-shaped room, and let's ask for doors. Now we can't roll a 1. We have to roll a 2 through a 4, or else we might be stuck. A 3. Whew. Okay, there are 2 doors. That is excellent. So we have a square-shaped room with 2 doors coming off of this doorway. So I'm going to make this a square that is 3 by 3. We'll have this connect with the cultist's chamber. And we have 2 doorways. Who knew that this square room was on this side of the chamber? So we're touching the cross room, we're touching the cultist room, but you know, to the south, but there's not a doorway there. There are, however, 2 doorways, and I'm going to make one doorway come out. We need to turn. Yeah, there wasn't enough room to get a turn to the left, so I'm going to give us 2 chances. Let's have one go this way. Okay, so we have right here, if you can see, we'll try to make it so that you can see, we have one entrance right by the cross room. Let's have another one come down to the south out of the square room, right in the center. Okay, now this might all mean nothing 30 seconds from now if we fall in a pit and die. But, you know, at least if we survive this room, we'll have a way to go. Once again, we're trying to make our way around to the east and then to the north to somehow reconnect with the main catacomb so we don't get stuck. Okay, so we've got the shape, we've got the number of doors, and now comes the moment of the truth where we roll for what we find. We need a 6. We need to explore rooms until either we somehow survive to room 12 or we roll a 6 and can buy potions from the peddler. So here is hoping that we roll a 6 and not a 2 or a 3 or a 5. And we roll a 4. You face another weak monster. If you kill it, the room is explored. Okay, so this is another bad situation. We did not want a 4, but out of the death-dealing situations, this is the best odds that we have to survive. With a pit trap, we don't have a rope, so we have a 50-50 chance of dying. With a soothsayer, we have a 50-50 chance of dying. With a monster, we might have more than a 50-50 chance of dying. With most of the weak monsters, not all, but with most, we should have either 50-50 or better chance of dying. Or of living, I should say. Okay, so there's a weak monster in the square room, and this very likely could be the end for Kargunt. Be ready, I'm warning you in advance. Alright, we have a D4, and we want it to not be an undead hound. We want a goblin, a cultist, or a blood-drenched skeleton. Let's see, the cultist can drop a scroll. That could be helpful. The goblin could drop a rope, which would be very helpful, and the skeleton could drop a dagger. So if we have to, if this has to happen, I'm going to say we want a goblin or a cultist. So we're looking for a 2 or a 3. Let's see how it goes. A 2. Okay, so a cultist. So there's another cultist in this room. Let's get a description of the room. I want to ask, is this still a barren room? And so far we've got 6 rooms in a row that have been mostly barren, so I'm going to say that it is very likely that this room, in addition, is still like a walls damaged, structurally unsound, but barren room. Very likely. We get a 54, that's a yes. So the only thing that's in this room is a cultist. Does the cultist see us as we enter the room? 50-50. 56. No, the cultist does not see us. So Kargunt, stumbles through the door into this square room. It's barren, and he can see a cultist in the room. And what is the cultist currently doing? What is his action that he is taking? He is 64. He is information. He is studying something. So the cultist is maybe like reading some crazy-looking book in the corner of the room, and Kargunt sneaks up, and let's describe the way that the combat rolls. It's a 68. So Kargunt, official, that's interesting. So Kargunt is sturdy. Kargunt slowly but steadily comes up behind the cultist, raises his hammer, and then when he's ready, brings it down with a swing. Now let's roll our die for combat. A round of combat. So we'll roll a d6, and if we can roll a 3 or higher, then we hit the cultist and we get to live another round. If we roll a 1 or a 2, then we die. There is no way to escape it. If we roll a 1 or a 2, then Kargunt is immediately going to be killed by the cultist. So we need to roll a 3 or higher on this die. Let's see how it turns out. A 1. It's a 1. So the cultist dodges, sidesteps. The cultist sidesteps Kargunt's blow. He turns and he buries he has one of these sick, twisted daggers. He turns and he buries the blade into Kargunt's gut, dealing D4 damage, which all he needs is a 1, and he rolls a 2. So dagger twists right, and Kargunt with 1 health. This was the last straw. This is all that he could handle, all that he could take, and Kargunt crumples to the floor and dies. Breathes his last. Now, Mistal is right around the corner. So I want to ask the question, does Mistal see Kargunt? You know, does Mistal see Kargunt fall to the floor and slink away into the shadows, laughing even? We'll say it's likely. 25. Mistal, chuckling, cackling, backs away into the darkness, and the curtain falls on Kargunt. Now that was honestly a pretty sick and fitting way to end a Dark Fort campaign. That was a blast. Kargunt is impaled on the end of a cultist's sickle-shaped knife. Pretty brutal. We're going to jump right back into it. So we're just, erase everything that you knew about Kargunt and the Dark Fort that he is descending into. Here we have another map. We have a blank slate to work with. And I can, the character sheet is so simple, I can honestly just draw a line right here and just carry on. Carry on with another iteration of Kargunt, the Catacomb Rogue. This will keep things quick and simple. Alright, is that the line? Yeah, it's past the line. Whatever. Okay. So, let's create a new Kargunt. Your name is Kargunt. You begin with 15 hit points. So, let's go ahead and say HP. Oh, just for funsies, let's reduce the first Kargunt's HP to -1. Because I think the cultist hit for a 2. Yeah. Okay. So his HP is 15. Alright. Let's see if we can live longer this time. Who knows? 15 out of 15. 15 is the max HP. And 15 plus D6 silver. We'll roll for that. We get a 3, so that is 18 silver. I'll note his max HP right now is 15. And then we'll say 18 silver. Okay. Now let's roll for the 2 starting items. You own 1 weapon. D4. We get 4. A flail. All right. Alright, so this time Kargunt is coming prepped. He's got a flail. That is a D6 plus 1 damage. Okay, so this is 1 step up from our Warhammer. Now, I have to admit, I like the sword better than the flail because I'd rather have the bonus to the attack roll. However, this is good. This is very good. We're going to hit hard. And 1... 2. Potion. Heal D6. Okay, armor would have been the best, but we have a potion, and I am certainly not going to complain about that. So I'm going to say potion times 1. Okay, so potions heal D6 damage. So our level is 1. Our points will start off at 0, and our rooms will start off at 0. Alright, so we have a fresh Kargunt, the Catacomb Rogue, to play with. We don't know anything about him. This is not the nice, young, innocent, pure, whatever Catacomb Rogue that we were playing with in the first campaign. So this is campaign number 2 that we are kicking off right now of Dark Fort, where we're going to try to even live to level 2. I mean, Kargunt didn't even make it to level 2. We got the points that we needed for level 2, but we couldn't survive 12 rooms. Okay, so I'm going to roll on the description meaning table for a word that describes Kargunt. 92. The word that describes Kargunt is small. He is a short individual. Okay, so he's short. Don't know what that tells us about his personality, but maybe he's not the biggest individual. So that was a 9. So 19. is dark, mysterious. Okay, so he's kind of a morbid or grave individual, and he's short. He's shorter than you would expect. So we just have this like mysterious, like, you know, maybe stoic personality. And Kargunt has a flail that he is holding, the, you know, spiked ball hanging from the chain as he enters into the catacomb. Now, is he searching for wealth? I'm going to say that this is nearly certain. Is he here to try to make a living as a grave robber? 98 exceptional? No. 98 on a nearly certain? That is an exceptional no. What in the world is he here for if he is not here for wealth? Kargunt has a quest. He's grave. What is he here for? Action meeting table 50. He's here to fight. He's here to fight the whatever is in the catacombs. So Kargunt has been hired to clear the catacombs of its evil. That is sick. Kargunt may have some kind of background with combat, but he is still level 1 for the intents and purposes of our game. This is epic. Kargunt is here just to, you know, to kill everything evil in the catacomb. That is an excellent motivation. I love this. Okay, so the entrance room. Draw a room of any size or form where D4 doors lead. So this time, I'm going to say, instead of coming in on the side of the map, I'm going to say that there is a staircase right here. And the shape of the room, I'm going to make it just like this rectangular shape. And there's one door. Here's 2 doors. Here's 3 doors. And let's have it like kind of off-centered. Here is a 4th door. Why not? Make sure this door is a little more pronounced so we can see that there's a north, an east, a south, and a western door. There's the staircase in the center descending down into the catacombs. So maybe this time it's under a church. Is the catacomb under an old church? Is this Diablo? I'm going to make this likely. It's likely that we're playing Diablo 1 right now, that we're in Tristram, except this is the Dying World. That is a 6. That is an exceptional yes. This is underneath some kind of cathedral. So there's a cathedral above. Can we have the name of the cathedral? Let's see. What is the name of the cathedral? That we are underneath. 1, artificial. Okay, that's pretty cool. We'll get another word to combine. 95, artificial and stylish. So, artlish or artiche. Artifil. Okay. Catacombs. I'm going to give this a title. I want to make sure there's enough room for you to see and that I can write on it. Okay. So we will title this document Catacombs of Artifil. Like stylish, FYL. Catacombs of Artifil. So we're underneath Artifil, and Kargunt enters this first room. And now let's hope for something more exciting than barren. Last Catacombs, the catacomb itself wasn't as interesting as the people within it. What does this room look like? 87. It is rustic. Okay, so rustic, like countryside, rural. So maybe when you come down into this, it's like a catacomb that is rustic. Maybe the top of this is not yet the catacomb, like proper. Maybe you've got like food supplies. Maybe the cathedral was using this space as some kind of like, you know, food storage. Maybe there's tools down here. So maybe it's kind of like a supply area. So I'm going to put like supply. I'm going to put rustic supply just so I can kind of like jog my memory. Okay, so we've got this like almost like it's a cathedral, but there's some kind of tools. Maybe they grow things around the cathedral, and there's like seeds in here or something. Kind of interesting. Bags of flour, bags of I don't know. There's stuff in here. There's stuff. Hopefully that paints somewhat of a picture. Now let's roll for what's actually in here as far as the game goes. So in the entrance room, we draw D4 doors. We don't get to pick how many doors. Okay. Draw a room of any size or form where D4 doors lead. And the number of doors is 4. Wow, it just happened that way. Okay, so don't worry about it. Don't sweat it. We're good. Okay, the D4 also determines 4. The entrance is eerily quiet and desolate. So there's nothing really going on in this room. However, this is one room explored. So that is a 1. We're in the entrance. It is rustic. There's some country going on here. Some supplies related to food and the needs of the cathedral above. Maybe there's some kind of like if they hold anything, like I don't know if there are any kind of objects that they use in their rituals. Maybe there's some of those kinds of things leaning against the wall here. I don't know. Let's why don't we head towards the camera? Let's head to the south, out the south door. So the way that we generate rooms in Dark Fort is to roll for a room shape and a number of doors. So I'm going to roll 2d6 and a d4 at the same time. We've got a 9 and then a 2. So the 9 for a room shape is round. That is interesting. Because I'm like not great at drawing circles, well, we'll do the best that we can. And then it's a D2, so we have 1 door. It's round with 1 door. So I will make this like circular shape. This is not going to be a very good circle because I am not great at shapes. Oh, okay, there's actually a way to make this. Okay, I just need to curve this one more. Yeah, okay, so that's kind of a circle. It's not great. I do not claim to be any kind of artist. That is not why I show you my hand-drawn map here. It's not because I'm in some kind of excellent dungeon artist. I just want you to be able to see where Kargunt is going. Okay, so you have this round-shaped room with 1 door. It leads straight through. And let's get a description of the room. So we get 3, which is beautiful. This room is beautiful. Maybe there are... I've got an idea. This is a little far-fetched, though, so we're going to make it unlikely. Is this a spire, like a cathedral spire, that is going down underground, and we can see, like, stained glass windows? Can we see stained glass windows on the sides of the room? Yeah, does this room, like, continue a spire going down? There's a spire in the cathedral above that has stained glass windows, and this is digging down below. And we can't access the room above, but, for some kind of symbolic or religious reason, underground there are stained glass windows in this room. Is that the case? That's less unlikely. We'll just say that's it. This room has stained glass windows around the wall. It's the spire from the cathedral coming down, and it's really cool. So it's beautiful in this room. I'll say glass, just to remember that. And let's roll for what's in the room. Let's roll on the room table. Give it a d6, and let's hope for a peddler. 1, nothing. There's nothing in this room. So we're walking through this room, and we notice the stained glass, and it's quite beautiful around us. We increment our rooms explored to 2, so we're already doing okay here. Our problem in the last campaign was not getting to 12 and leveling up. Also dying, getting stabbed to death. That was kind of a problem. But we couldn't explore the rooms fast enough. There was too much going on. Okay, let's just keep pressing forward. So we have another room beyond the stained glass room. Let's roll for it. So this is a 7, which should be a square, and a 2, which is 1 door. So we have a square shape with 1 door. We can make it a 3 by 3 square. And why don't we just keep on pushing in your direction, the audience, and we'll have our one door across the way. Okay, so enter into another room, and I'm going to ask, is this room holding, I don't know, religious supplies? That was kind of the first room. Let's roll for the description meaning table. On the description meaning table, what is this room like, given the context? 57. So we get modern. This is a modern room. I think modern's really hard for me in the Dying World setting. 48. We get lacking. Modern and lacking. Interesting. Okay, so let's say that this room has a broken statue in it. Yeah, that makes sense. So we have this like modern statue of whatever this cathedral worships. Let's say broken statue. And it's lacking because it's been damaged. So they hold it down into this kind of a storage space. And it is a statue of something. And just out of interest, let's roll on the description meaning table to see what it is a statue of. 60. Statue of something mundane. So, what if it's a farmer? We have a farmer. We have a statue of some kind of farming person of a religious significance in the, religion of this cathedral, and they have a statue of the farmer that was damaged in some way, and it's sitting down in this room that otherwise looks like a supply or storage area. Now, let's roll on the room table to see what else is in here. We have nothing. Once again, there is nothing in this room. It's just this creepy broken statue. That's weird. Why is nothing going on in here? Okay, so our room increases to 3, but we're going to need some kind of points if we're ever going to... if we're ever going to hit level 2 and surpass the Kargunt of, the first campaign. Okay, so we press on again. We're pushing to the south through this room with the broken statue, and there's nothing really happening, so Kargunt isn't really that worried at the moment. He's not panicking. There's nothing too crazy going on. So Kargunt just keeps on keeping on. We get a 7 and a 1. So this is a square room with no doors. Okay, so we'll just have this square extend to the south and look very similar. Okay, but this time it's a dead end. There are no doors here, and I'm going to guess that this is so far we've encountered supply areas holding things for the cathedral above. Let's get a description meaning table roll to tell us what this room, describe what's in this storage room. 26, extravagant. Okay. Oh wait, 26, empty. Is that right? Did I roll a 26? Empty. This room is empty. There's nothing in this supply room. Okay, so we got this like religious cathedral under a church vibe, but there's nothing here. Now, is there something in this back room from the room table? And we roll a 4, a weak monster. So Kargunt, he has his flail at his side, but he's not really worried until he enters this room and he comes across a catacomb cultist. All right, here we go. So there is some kind of cultist here, and this makes a whole lot of sense. With being under a cathedral, this cult is probably some kind of like opposite of the religion that's above. So it probably has something to do with nature and with, agriculture in some way. Like maybe they're a cult that wants to like poison the earth. Maybe they think that we need to be moving forward towards the seventh misery and ultimate destruction. So maybe they want to stop the life and growth that this cathedral represents. That's what we'll go with for now. What is the catacomb? What is this cultist doing in the room? This empty, barren room. What is the cultist doing in this room? Action meeting table. We get a 98. He's waiting to surprise Kargunt. Somehow he knows that Kargunt is coming, so he hides in the room. And as Kargunt enters the room and looks around, the cultist, hiding along the wall as Kargunt enters, flail somewhat at the ready, lunges out with a dagger and attacks. Now, does the cultist connect? So for each round of combat, we roll a d6. Our target number is the number of points that our opponent is worth. A Catacomb cultist is worth 3 points, so we need to roll a 3 or higher on a d6 to hit the cultist. So I'm going to roll, and we get a 1. So the cultist connects. Kargunt enters the room, and he is not able to see the cultist in time to avoid his strike. So I'm going to get a descriptor for the combat to kind of paint the scene for us. Let's roll. Get a 20 on the description meeting table. That is dirty. So this was a dirty tactic employed by the cultist. So the dagger lunges, he plunges the dagger into Kargunt's shoulder. Let's see how well this connects. It's a 3, so he does. And let me just double check that the Catacomb cultist does a d4 damage. So he slashes Kargunt across the shoulder for 3 damage as he enters the room. A sneak attack, a dirty surprise attack. We lower Kargunt's HP from 15 to 12. And then Kargunt is going to get a chance to respond. We're going to move into a new round of combat. And a 6. So Kargunt is going to, come around and connect with the flail. Let's get another descriptor. I think the descriptors during combat are just fun. It's just flavor. It doesn't impact the mechanics, but just for pure entertainment, 38, a good healthy swing. So I imagine Kargunt takes the dagger into the shoulder. He's furious that he allowed himself to be gotten the best of through a sneak attack, and he, knowingly takes a sidestep and brings it around with very good technique, brings his flail around, connects with the cultist. Now let's see how much we get out of that cultist. The cultist has 6 HP. We're going to roll a d6 and add 1. That will be the damage that we deal. So we roll a 1. So it's a 2. We're going to bring the cultist down from 6 HP to 4. So we're playing at 12 versus 4. So the flail comes around and connects. It takes a chunk out of the cultist's skin, but it's out of his, it's out of his rib area. But we didn't collapse his chest or anything, so he is still very much able to continue attacking. Kargunt, however, has the advantage here. We're going to roll again, and this is all flavor. He has the advantage. The dice roll, it's 4 out of 6 in favor of us, so we do have the advantage, but from the flavor text perspective, we imagine that Kargunt brings another swing around and hits again. We're going to roll for damage, and the second is also a 2. We roll a 1. 1 plus 1, 2. This is going to bring the cultist's health down from 4 to 2. So I imagine the first one took a chunk out of his side. The second one takes a chunk out of the shoulder. The cultist is just battered. He's wide open for another strike from Kargunt, and this last strike is going to hit yet again, and 3 plus 1 is 4. Kargunt brings the flail around for a third strike, and it comes down clean into the skull of the cultist, putting him out of his misery. So Kargunt has a gash on his shoulder where he was hurt, but the cultist is dead. And looking around the room, there's nothing else interesting in this room. It was empty. The cultist was hiding in the corner, waiting for him to kill him. Now, Kargunt is aware that there is some cult down in the catacombs. So he should have been ready for this, but he's mad at himself because the cultist was able to get the better of him, if just for a moment, and now he has to pay for it by having an injured shoulder that could affect him. As the dungeon moves along, Kargunt having a potion. Let me just look at potions heal D6 HP. That's what they do. Okay, so do we want to spend it now? I think we need to wait until we're 6 health in the hole before we drink our potion. So I don't think Kargunt is going to drink his potion yet. We have one, so it's important to know that we can drink a potion if we're able to, if we have the time to do so. Okay, so that's good to know. Okay, so we killed the cultist in this room. I'm going to put cultist just so we remember what was in here. And empty. Just little notes so that I can remember what's going on in the dungeon crawl. And we need to earn the points from the cultist, so he is worth 3 points. So we're going to go from 0 to 3. And then our rooms explored is going to go up to 4. So that's pretty exciting. We're a third of the way to the number of rooms that we need, which is excellent. And then we've reached 3 points out of 15. This is to reach level 2. So kind of like my short-term goal right now is to get a Kargunt to level 2. I say a Kargunt. We're kind of like resetting, or, like rebooting the world every time we start over, because there is just one Kargunt. Yeah, okay, now, so we reach a dead end, so that is interesting, and that is kind of a problem. So we have to backtrack through the room with the broken statue and the room with the stained glass to get back to the entrance with the seeds, maybe the agricultural and religious equipment along the walls. So to get to another doorway, we have to backtrack through 1, 2, 3 explored rooms. And when we move through an explored room, we have to roll on the D4 to see if I think it's a weak monster. Let's double check. 1 in 4 chance you face a weak monster, otherwise the room is empty. Okay, so Kargunt is he's down here on a mission to exterminate. So he's killed the cultists, this room is clear, he's going to move back through the dungeon, and he's going to be happy if he comes across something because it means he can kill it. From our perspective, though, we'd like to, I don't know if we want to minimize. Weak monsters I think is actually fine because we can get points from them. Tough monsters is really where it's scary. Okay, so we backtrack to the room with the broken statue, and as Kargunt makes his way through the room, it's empty. We pass the statue. It's still, there's nothing crazy going on here, but Kargunt is now, he's checking his corners. He's looking to the right and the left. He's a little more nervous now as he enters the stained glass room. This room is also still empty. It just looks like the inside of a spire without a staircase. We've got the stained glass, and there's nothing going on. We make it back into the entrance, the rustic-looking entrance with agricultural equipment, and in this room there is also no weak monster. So Kargunt is able to effectively just backtrack to the north, back to the starting point safely, successfully. Yeah, and we're still sitting at 4 rooms explored. We've got a potion and a flail. This is cool. Okay, we're doing pretty well so far. Just for fun, I guess, let's come the other direction. Let's exit to the north and see what's across from this southern wing. I'm going to go ahead and roll for the room. 2d6 and a d4. We get 3 and 2. So for rune shape, 3 is an oval. That's interesting because it was a circle. Now it's an oval, and then 2 is with 1 door. So we have the same kind of thing happening. Only this time I'm going to make this extend for a little further to make it seem like an oval. Now, once again, I'm not the best artist, so my curves are going to be a little funny. That's okay. Yeah, not aiming for any kind of like art award here, but okay, we have our oval room, and I want a description of the room. Let's see what we get. We'll roll on the description meaning table. So the southern ring was really just like a storage space. So I'm hoping we get a totally different kind of flavor to this north wing in the catacombs. So 28. This is extravagant. Okay, so I'm going to say that coming in this direction, we encounter the sarcophagi of, maybe the most prominent religious people, whether they're priests or heroes, whatever the case, legendary farmers, if we go with the whole agricultural twist. This room has catacomb or sarcophagi along the walls. So I'm going to draw those in. I'm going to actually ask, are there 2 stories or more of, are there 2 or 3 stories of sarcophagi? Like, are they stacked on top of each other in little alcoves in the wall? I don't know. We'll make it 50-50. We'll try that roll again. And we get a 59, so that is a no on a 50-50 roll. Okay, so we just have, surrounding the room, the sarcophagi, and they are extravagant. They are very ornate and colorful, and maybe there are little statues in here, all just with agricultural and religious significance. This is a room where the really the heroes, the icons, the most important legendary members of this religion's history are buried here. This is a very it's an epic room for the people in the cathedral. Now, my next question, is there anything evil in this room defiling their most prized burial place? 6. There is a peddler from beyond the void. So, sitting between 2 of these sarcophagi, in between, there's maybe golden statues of cherubs, or green, maybe some kind of dark green for the natural aspect. In between 2 of the sarcophagi, there is a peddler from beyond the void. And from beyond the void, maybe this means that his eyes are just otherworldly, we can tell that there's something not quite right with him. Why don't we ask, are his eyes like dark pits with some kind of void energy coming out of them? 50-50, that is a no. So then rather, the from beyond the void is this menacing laughter. When this man speaks, it sounds almost demonic, right? Almost like a guttural 2-voice kind of thing going on when he speaks. The peddler, though, is willing to sell us supplies. Now, Kargunt is probably freaked out by this, coming upon this peddler from the void, and the peddler offers trinkets and steel for blood-soaked coins. Does Kargunt already know this is going to happen? This is his first time. Okay, so this is a new campaign, so this is Kargunt's first time to encounter the peddler. I'm going to say that he very tentatively, almost out of fear, I think that Kargunt is going to accept this. The only thing I'm leaning on is his dark demeanor. Why don't we... He knows that this is going to be a cult. He might be feeling less than trustworthy of this individual. Does Kargunt attempt to kill or flee from the peddler? Now, this is interesting. This is not the way that I want to go, but I'm trying to think about how Kargunt would react to seeing this peddler. Maybe he can see the weapons, maybe he can see the potions, and he has to make a decision whether or not he's willing to accept assistance at a risk from this individual. And we basically have to deal with peddlers to survive in the catacombs. So I'm just gonna make the decision that Kargunt very warily accepts the risk of dealing with this peddler. Something, maybe it's some kind of magical soothing quality in the monster's voice that kind of lulls him into a sense of security, even with his wariness. I don't know. There's some kind of complex emotion thing going on. Kargunt makes the decision to spend his coins to buy from the merchant, but we just, it's just interesting to think about. You're here to kill everyone, and you come across someone that wants to help you. That should be strange. It should be there should be red flags. So I'm going to say peddler, and ornate to mark this room so I can remember what it's like. And we have 18 silver. Did the cultist have a chance to drop anything? Cultist had a chance to drop a scroll. So let's check to see if he did that. 4. So no, he did not drop a scroll, so there's nothing to worry about there. Okay, let's look at the peddler's store. So for 4 silver, we can buy a potion. For 10 silver, we can buy armor. Ooh, and a sword is 12. How much do we have? We have 18 silver, so we could buy 2 potions and armor. Okay, yeah, that's what we're going to... a rope. Ooh, and then we wouldn't have enough for another potion, but we could avoid pit traps. I think the rope is... necessary. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to buy, first and foremost, we're going to buy armor. Yeah, so I'm going to put armor minus D4, right? Is what the armor gives us. Yeah, that is good stuff. So that's going to cost 10 silver. So Kargunt, now it's not blood-soaked silver yet, but Kargunt has the silver that he entered the catacomb with. He has 18 of it, and he's going to very warily hand 10 of his silver coins, hard won, his investment, right? This is him investing into this venture. Maybe he's going to get paid or something when he clears the catacomb. But he has the silver. He pays the peddler for this armor. Maybe it looks like the cathedral in some way. I don't know. Or more likely it has some kind of like a void nature to it. So this armor is probably strange. Let's get a descriptor. Why don't we roll on the description table? 90. So this armor is simple. Okay, so this is not some kind of like ornate void armor. This is just some sturdy looking armor that this man is selling. Okay, cool. So Kargunt is wearing what you'd expect in some kind of heavy armor. That was 10 coins. Now the next thing I'm going to buy is a rope for 5 coins, 5 silver. And that's going to lower our silver down to 3. Okay, so we just dropped 15 silver, but a rope is going to give us a +1 on our rolls against pit traps. So if we come across a pit trap, the rope will allow us to save ourselves from the pit trap and not take damage. Maybe the rope keeps us from hitting the ground hard. I'm not exactly sure how it works in effect, but the rope helps our dice roll nonetheless. Okay, cool. So peddler in the ornate room with the sarcophagi, that is a 5th room explored. I will note that. We are at 5 rooms explored, but only 3 points earned at this point. Okay, it may be a while until we find a peddler again, so I almost should have bought the potions, but we'll just see what happens. We'll see if we can use the armor to soak damage and last longer. That really should be a big deal. So Kargunt is now equipped with armor and a flail. He's going to press forward across from to the north of the room with the sarcophagi. We're going to roll for another room. For the room roll, I will roll 2d6 and a d4 to get the shape and the number of doors. We get 4 and 2, so shape is across. Traumatic experiences there, and 2 is 1 door. Okay, so we're just going to keep marching up the board. Have a cross shape. Okay, and the last room had sarcophagi, and this is a catacomb, so I'm going to ask if there are sarcophagi lining the 2 alcoves on the side here, the 2 areas. Maybe there's particularly prominent people that were buried here. We'll make that a fate question. We'll ask the fate chart. I'm going to say that it is very likely. I'm going to say that it's nearly certain. We get a 76. That is a yes. Now, I do want another word to describe this room. Or, is it still extravagant? I'm going to say likely that it's still extravagant. and we get a 46. So yes, this is another extravagant room. We've got burials in this cross-shaped room. Maybe there are memorials and some information about who it is that's buried on the two sides, to the east and the west. Kargunt is in this room with his flail and his armor. He has the gash on his shoulder, but it is now under new armor. We're going to roll on the room table to see what is in this room. 2, we get a pit trap. Okay, so good thing we have a rope. Roll a d6. 1 to 3 means you take d6 damage. If you have a rope, add +1 to the roll. If you survive, the room is explored. Did we count that room? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do we have... Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. Okay, yeah, so we've explored 5 rooms. This will be the 6th. Interesting, our first Kargunt only made it through 6 rooms. That's pretty crazy. We're already on the 6th room, and there's a pit trap. I'm going to go ahead and add... My symbol for a pit trap is going to be these like little spikes, little circles on the ground. That is a pit trap that we check to see if Kargunt falls into, or if his rope helps prevent him from falling into. We need to roll a 3 or higher to avoid the pit trap. 1 + 1 is a 2. Oh no. Okay, so we're going to take d6 damage. So Kargunt is walking along, and he's distracted. He's distracted on both sides by these epic sarcophagi with all of this, flashy, showy stuff. Look how great the person is that's buried here. When he falls into a pit trap, and the pit trap is spiked, and it gashes it. Oh my gosh. It stabs up into him. Oh, we rolled a 5. He is wearing armor, so we are going to be able to roll to negate the damage. So imagine Kargunt falling forward and landing on his front on all of these kind of spike things. And now we need to know how much damage the armor soaks. It soaks 3 damage. So Kargunt takes 2 damage from this fall, and I interpret that as one of the spikes slipping between into some gap where the armor is not protecting, and stabbing into Kargunt's, maybe his side, near his ribs. Oh, that sounds awful. We're going to lower his health to 10 HP, and Kargunt's going to use his rope to help him climb back out of the pit in the cross-shaped room. When he reaches the top, I think, injured in 2 places, he is going to pop the cap of his potion, and he's going to roll a 1d6 to see how much he heals. So he drinks his first potion, and 6, he can feel the wound on his shoulder magically stitching itself together, and the gash in his side sewing itself back up. This very, very strange feeling involved with feeling your body kind of healing itself from the potion. But the potion is spent. Kargunt is back to absolute full health with 15 out of 15 HP, and he is good to go, although he is now wary, nervous. He's fallen into a pit, stabbed with a spike. He's been stabbed in the shoulder by a cultist. He is now wary of the job that is set before him, but he's determined, and he will push on to the task's completion. We will continue making progress in the next episode. Thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate you being here. If you like what you see, please be sure to hit that like button and to subscribe to let me know you want to see more solo role-playing content. In the next episode, we will continue to follow along with Kargunt, our intrepid adventurer's journey as he attempts to clear the catacombs of Artifil to exterminate the cult that is inhabiting the catacombs beneath the cathedral. So until next time, fight on.